Hello, great to have your company as always. Welcome along. It is Business Connections Live. This is edition number 11. And boy, have we got a cracking show lined up for you. Christmas just round the corner. So many different things that we should be considering and thinking about. And let's not forget, one of the most important things in our life is our business, and we've got to make certain that business is going to survive its way through the festive season. Tonight we've got a slightly different program, but really hopefully something that's going to be maybe inspirational to you, something that's going to give you a bit of an insight. If you've ever thought of maybe having a business that is, well, I suppose public facing, where the public walk in off the street, they're passing trade, and then you have to sell something to them. Or maybe you've thought about going into the catering industry and you're thinking to yourself, well, hello, I could do that. It's dead easy. Open a kitchen, serve up a couple of plates of fish and chips, job done. It isn't that easy. Vast expense, a vast amount of worry, and a vast amount of work as well. My guest this evening is Sonny Jaffrey from the Wine Circle in Virginia Water. Sonny, it's lovely to have you with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
So that we can just get a kind of a feel about what the Wine Circle is all about. You're a bit of everything, aren't you? You are a fine wine shop where people can come and they can purchase some of the most wonderful wines, like these ones here. And you've also got a restaurant as well, haven't you? So you really are on both sides of the fence here. Tell us a little bit about the business.
Well, we're wine and spirit merchants with a restaurant, bar and delicatessen attached to it. We operate more than just like a restaurant and a wine shop. We do tours to Europe. We have a very strong club membership, over 800 in number. We do a lot of master classes, wine tasting dinners with speakers from all over the world. We've had them from Argentina, Chile, New Zealand, Australia, France, Italy, literally all over. We do them in a very relaxed, fun manner so that people actually enjoy the evening. They learn something, but they actually have fun, because wine is a pleasure, and that's the way it should be presented. We don't get too technical, but we give them enough information for them to enjoy it. The club acts in a way that it makes the shop interact very strongly with the restaurant, and we can talk about that as well.
I mean, but it's quite unique, isn't it, the way you've got things set up, the fact that you've got the shop, the wine shop, and you've got the restaurant, and they're within, well, spitting distance of each other,
a
aren't
few
they?
doors from one another, yeah.
I mean, was that a conscious decision? Would it not be better, in your particular case, to have the two together in one establishment, or was it a conscious decision to split them aside?
We operated separately as a shop for about a year, and the restaurant had already been going for some years, very successfully. We got close to pre-banking crisis, but the signs were on the door, basically.
Right.
And we thought, we've got to think of something else to drive the business, to operate in a recession. And that didn't mean that we would down market or buy cheaper, but we would buy better, if necessary, more expensive, but we would always give value for money.
I mean, when you think back to when you started the business, I mean, because your background is in hotels, it's in business. I mean, you've done a lot of different things.
Yes, yeah.
When you came into this business, what were the big obstacles to actually getting the whole thing started?
Well, I think in any business, you've got to make sure you understand the business, you understand the market, you understand your customer, your product, the knowledge of the product, what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to put over. All those things are vital in terms of marketing your product and selling it to the public. And
what do you think was the biggest initial problem then? You've analysed the market, you've looked at it, you've decided that this is the way you're going to go. What was the things that all of a sudden jumped out of the woodwork and you went, didn't really expect that?
We became very busy in the restaurant. We were one of the first, when we opened in Windsor, one of the first modern style cafe bar style restaurants with a European flavour. Not the cafes that you see in the high street today and the multiples, but we had a very strong continental feel. And we were very busy very quickly because it was different. It was smart, but very relaxed, very informal, but giving a very good product at very good value. And it took off. So one of the biggest challenges at that stage was finding the staff and training the staff and making sure that they were up to selling the product and continuing it. Because we expanded the business to Virginia Water, where we have the main base now. And it was all about, it was a journey, really. We went from a daytime restaurant to a full-fledged day, afternoon, evening restaurant. We're open all hours, and that's what makes us, in our particular area, unique.
Now, the restaurant's one part of the business, and we touched very briefly there on the actual wine shop. But the wine shop isn't your run-of-the-mill wine shop, is it? It's not like going into, should we say, a corner store.
No.
What you've got there truly are fine wines. And just to give a kind of perspective on that, because this is obviously the kind of investment that you're putting into it, because of the cost and the pricing on those different wines. For instance, here, what have we got here? We've got 4 bottles here, and they're not just any 4 bottles, are they?
You know, as a wine merchant, you get very excited when you get something like this. We study, we research, we travel a lot to source our wines. We have over 500 wines in the shop from all over the world. But when you get something like this in your hands, you get really excited. This is what it's all about.
Now, there are wine connoisseurs watching this, so
Sure.
you know, tell us what it is.
So can I just tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the wine connoisseur will know what it is. It's from Guigal, from the Rhone, northern Rhone, and it's one of what they call their Lala treasures.
Now, I spoke to you about the Lala treasures before.
Yeah.
These wines, I've always felt about these wines, you can either drink them, or you can lay them down and see them as an investment. And that is very much the truth, isn't it?
Well, these you should lay down. This is a 2008 vintage, which was not a great vintage in the Rhone, but Guigal would never produce a wine that is not a good wine. We were very lucky to get on the allocation, which has been closed for some 10 years, last year. Not quite sure how we achieved that, but we did.
Reputation.
And we got our first allocation last year, of which we've got a few bottles left, of the 3, what they call the Lala treasures. Our 2009 allocation are completely sold out, which we sold for £650 a bottle.
£650 a bottle?
Yeah, that's certainly not the most expensive bottle of wine we sell, but it sold very, very quickly because people recognise, the people that recognise that producer and that wine will lay it down for 10 years. And it might be worth £4,000 a bottle in that time, who knows. But they will drink it not now, these wines are for laying down, and they will drink it in 10 years' time.
When you as a business and you're purchasing these wines, I mean, these are sitting somewhere on your stock list. So there's a huge amount of money tied up in stock. How do you cope with that? How do you manage that? How do you have a cash flow that can actually survive having that kind of value of stock sitting in the background?
We have price points right throughout. We go from under £10, just on the £10 mark, right up to over £1,000 a bottle, and some we had over £3,000 a bottle. But you go right through the price structure. So you're catering for a market that can buy wines at £10 or £20 or £50 or whatever. So your market is quite wide, but what we do is we do not put anything on the shelf that we have not tried. Most of the wines we have tasted and tried before they go on the shelf. So we know, we're confident in what we're selling. There is a big capital outlay. There is a big capital investment. The capital investment requirement is more and more. It continues to grow because as you source new wines, rare vintages, as the business grows, we've got people coming to us to say, can you source this vintage or can you source that vintage? And we're doing it, and we're doing it more and more. But it requires an investment.
Well, so what we are going to talk
continually requires an increased capital investment.
Well, what we are going to talk about, we're going to talk about how you would raise funds for an investment like that, who you talk to. Also, when it comes to the property that you're in as well, how do you go about the kind of sorting out leases? And also, you're not reliant, are you, on passing trade? I suppose you've got to build a clientele who will actually make an appointment with you to come to visit you, to come to your store and to maybe purchase these, because these are considered purchases, even though in the store there are other things that aren't, but these are considered, aren't they?
Well, over the years, we've developed a pretty strong database. We've got the club membership, over 800 members, and we've got about another 400 members, 400 people on our database that have come and go, and they they're interested in knowing what we're getting in, so they go on the database. So anything like this or anything else interesting that comes in, or something new that's a good wine, we will send out an email. So we market strongly through emails. We get a very good reaction to that. We've got a very active website. We get inquiries from all over the world. We do a lot of promotion through our club membership. Club members talk to other club members. We market from within.
Well, I'll tell you what
Yeah.
we'll do. We'll talk more about the club membership and we'll talk more about the ways that you actually do market the business. And if I'm lucky, I'll steal away with one of those bottles of wine. But what we will do, we'll remind you about what happened on last week's programme. It was an absolutely fantastic show that we had last week. We had David Endersby of TW18 Business or Business Media. And he was talking about an introduction really for so many businesses these days to maybe using Facebook to raise the awareness about your business, tell people what your business is doing. It was an amazing show. I know David at the time really enjoyed himself, and afterwards we had a long chat. The show itself has been one of the fastest growing shows that we've had since we started Business Connections Live. However, I'll tell you more about some of the other shows in just a few moments' time. But let's just remind ourselves what happened last week on Business Connections Live. With me tonight, we've got David Endersby. He is the owner of TW18 Business Media.
TW18 Business Media was set up to work with mainly local people, hence the name, and help them with their social media. I called it business media because although social media is by definition we're talking to people, we're interacting with them, at the end of the day you want to get a result for your business. It needs to produce results.
Why aren't businesses using it as they should do?
There's quite a few reasons really. The ones that I get most commonly are it's just for kids, because you see the stuff on TV or whatever, just for kids and celebrities, and you just see this stream of drivel coming through is how people see it, you know, what people had for breakfast. So that's one of the reasons I say that.
I'm having a cup of coffee now.
Yes. Whereas if you said, I'm in a meeting with, you know, another company, I'm in a meeting talking about something or other, even if you're having a cup of coffee at the time, then that, you know, people like to know things like that. Facebook was the original social media platform. It's the one that everyone knows. Google Plus has come along recently, and up till quite a short time ago, people were saying, oh, well, the only people who are using Google Plus, you know,
Are the geeks.
Are the geeks and the people who work for Google, and you could go on the Google Plus site and call out, is anybody there? And the echo would come back, not yet, but we will be soon. But that is becoming more and more important, and people are starting to use it a bit more, and, you know,
what do you see as the main differences between Facebook and Google Plus then?
Google Plus is, the clue name is that Google own it, so that it's going to be a lot more beneficial as regards your SEO. And it's also a lot easier to, you know, get groups together, have, you know, Google circles, so you can join like-minded people in different groups together. Facebook is, I mean, there's 31 million UK Facebook accounts. So the beauty of Facebook is that your customers are there somewhere.
They're there somewhere.
They're there somewhere. I think the strategy is the same thing, is find out where your, as we said, where your audience is. Look to join, set up your business page, look to join local groups, look to like similar businesses or like your customers' business pages and interact with them as your business, so you're creating awareness. As we say, work out what you're trying to, you know, achieve, whether you're trying to actually sell, as you said, or whether you're just trying to raise awareness or provide an educational resource, and then you structure your posting and the things that you talk about, you know, to mirror that. Work out how much time you can give and stick to that. So if you can only post 3 times a week, at least do that. I mean, one of the things I see so often, Steve, is people, you know, they have this great flurry of excitement at the beginning. I've set up my Facebook page, I've set up my Twitter page. I've done 10 tweets today. Tomorrow I've done 9 tweets. 3 weeks' time I've tweeted last week. And then you look and, you know, in 3 months' time, they haven't tweeted at all. So work out what you can do and stick to it. I'll say the first key point is think about your audience and what they want to hear, not what you want to tell them. my second one would be just remember that social media is fun and it is social. And my third one is just do it. Just invest the time and get out there and do it, and you'll get results from it.
You're watching Business Connections Live. I'm Steve Hunt. It's great to have your company. My guest this evening is Sonny Jaffrey from the Wine Circle in Virginia Water, and purveyor of fine wines and, well, in fact, everything. And if you also want something to eat as well, for that matter, then it's an ideal place to go. We're talking about the trials and tribulations of when you actually are opening up an organisation or a business like that. The issues that you're going to have. How much is it going to cost you when you start looking at property? Do you lease it? Of course you do. What do you do when it comes to actually making certain that you have the stock that you need? We're talking about bottles of wine here that are in the hundreds. Some of the wines that you have in your store are in the thousands, aren't they? So there's all sorts of considerations that you have to take place. Now, maybe your business isn't about selling wines and about selling foods, but many of the problems that Sonny's business has are the same kind of problems that you in your business are going to have, and you're going to have to consider. Maybe not on day one, but definitely at some stage in the future. You're going to have to sit back for a moment. You're going to have to think to yourself, I'm going to talk to that bank manager because I'm going to have to fund this somehow. Let's talk, if we may, a little bit about when it comes to funding. If you're starting up in a business like this, and I know that your background is both in hotels, but it's also
financial
as well. Mm-hmm. Is that a big help for you, the fact that you do know how to read a spreadsheet and you do know how to put one together when you do present your idea and your business plan to the bank manager?
It's extremely important. It's held me in good stead. I'm an accountant by profession, going way back. It's important to get your numbers right. And in the restaurant business and the wine business and any retail business, a lot of people forget the number side of it. Restaurants are sometimes looked at as being very glamorous and a lovely thing to get into. Unless you get the numbers right, you're dead in the water within 12 months.
So it's the right thing to do then, is to step back and maybe put that out to somebody who does understand it. I remember once putting a business plan together myself, and depending on what time of the year you actually start the business will affect your cash flow in as much as when the VAT is going to come back in. And I was amazed, and that VAT injection, if you can call it that, and the way the VAT would then circulate its way around the business, would either keep the business afloat or break the business. And I never realised that when I was putting together a business plan. As an accountant, you must know that, and there must be other techniques that you must be aware of.
I think in the retail business, which is one side of our business, seasons play a big part. So you have to take into account when in the year you're starting a business. You must get your initial capital right. You've got to capitalize well from the beginning. And many businesses, small businesses in particular, who especially today don't get much help, if any, from the banks, need to capitalize properly, need to have that extra bit set aside, because there are downturns, and any business starting up will not be able to forecast accurately, unless they're very, very clever, a year ahead. And gone are the days, the formulas have gone when you could forecast 3 years ahead or 2 years ahead. Most people will now forecast 1 year ahead, and then we'll look and see what happens in year 2. So it's a much, much more difficult game today than it was 20 years ago.
They're much maligned, I think, sometimes, but we're going to have a number of the banks on the programme in the future.
Sure.
But is it a case of handling the banks properly, and a lot of people don't, or is it a case of the banks not really understanding people's businesses, even though they claim they do?
I think banks today don't understand your business. You've lost the regional manager, you've lost your account manager through the recession and through the banking crisis. You're dealing with committees that don't visit your business. So if they don't visit the business, how on earth are they going to understand it? If they look at a balance sheet and profit and loss account, in my experience, they don't always understand it. So you're not dealing with a very expert level of banking for small businesses anymore. You used to be able to go to your bank manager or to an account manager, and who would visit your business, who would understand your business, and that's how you need to get on with the banks. Personally, I would not borrow from the banks today.
Where would you borrow from then?
We reinvest everything we make back into the business, and we grow from that. Or we will if the time requires it, we'll get an outside investor. But we will only grow through investment of our own, but not through the banks.
Is the reason because of interest rates, the uncertainty, and also the power of the bank? I mean, what are the reasons for it?
Well, the interest rates are low, so the interest rates are attractive.
Yes.
I don't have the confidence in banks today dealing with small businesses. It might be easier to raise 5 million, but to raise 5,000 is more difficult. And I just feel more comfortable making the business grow from within.
All right, so
I don't want any third parties calling the shots here. I call the shots.
But you get that though with the investor coming in. I mean, obviously they're going to want something
Well,
back.
you bring in an investor on your terms.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the business, and we're going to give a bit of a feel for the business in just a few moments' time. But let's talk really about what you sell. What is the product as such? We've talked about the wines, but the wine circle is more than that, isn't it?
Well, the wine circle, we are wine and spirit merchants, but we grow from within and market ourselves by a very social club. The club that we formed, which has been going now for some 6 years, has grown and grown and grown, with over 800 active members, all paying an annual fee to become a member and to retain a member. You get a very social group. You almost use a restaurant as a place to entertain, as a place to meet people and have a drink or have a cup of coffee. So the restaurant is going from 9 o'clock in the morning right through to midnight. It never stops. It's the meeting place of the village. So you create a sort of social atmosphere, a sort of club, but still within the disciplines and the guidelines of running a proper restaurant.
But you didn't start the Wine Circle Club for that. I mean, you saw it as a way to promote the business, to raise awareness and to bring new customers, to increase your footfall, wasn't it?
Well, we started it. You have to think of new ideas. People, we're not in a high street, so people are not walking by. You have to get people coming to you. So you have to. So we set out the club, and it could have failed, but it succeeded partly because we have a good product. And I like to believe we have a good product, and we deliver it in a very relaxed, very informal manner, with very well-trained staff. We train from within, and we send them out on training diplomas and sponsor them and pay for the fees and all the rest of it.
That kind of leads on to another question, doesn't it? Because you've got the two properties, you've got the shop, you've got the restaurant, and I mean, what's your staff? How many have you got?
21.
So there's 21 staff. And for a lot of businesses, the moment you start employing people, you start employing problems, don't you?
You do.
And there are all sorts of, you've got holidays, you've got sickness, you've got all sorts of things that you've got to worry about. What is your kind of ideas and your thinking behind the way you employ the staff and how you maximise the return as a small business that you get from your staff?
You have to make the staff interested in what they're doing. If we get a casual Saturday girl in who wants to just work weekends to earn a bit of pocket money while she's at college or a university, they do not come in on the basis that they leave us having not learnt anything. By teaching them something about something they probably didn't have any interest in before, but the products we're dealing with will stand you in good stead all your life. Food and wine just helps you to socialize better if you have some knowledge of it. And it's an interesting subject. So we make them interested. If they're not interested, they're not going to succeed. And by teaching them and learning, they're more interested because they're learning things. They're going home to their parents and they're saying, we've learned this and we've learned that, and you shouldn't be having that wine with that food, Mum and Dad. You should be having this wine. And that's what happens. And we get the feedback. So training is very important in a fun way, in a way that they feel they've learned something, feel proud of it.
Well, I tell you what, it's a fascinating discussion, and the staff are truly very good. Tell you what we're going to do. You're probably sitting there going, well, this is all very well, but I'd love to get a real feel for what goes on there. Now, one of the things that you do at the restaurant, of course, is you have wine tasting evenings, don't you? And you have guest speakers. And just to give you a kind of a feel what one of these evenings would be like. We recorded this a couple of years ago actually now. It was a Portuguese wine event, and Charles Metcalfe was the guest speaker who was there on the evening. It was a fascinating night, a fascinating range of wines, and it was an evening that kind of went something like this.
My name's Charles Metcalfe. I have made a living, more or less, talking and writing about wine for the last, well, getting on for 25 years now, actually. And particularly in the last couple of years, talking about the wines of Portugal.
The first of the two whites is a Vinho Verde. So it comes from that top left-hand corner of Portugal. This one is made from two grapes. One is called Loureiro, and one is called Arinto.
The most unique thing about Portuguese wines is not just Portugal, the country, with its mountains, its hills, its plains. It's the fact that the Portuguese have about 300 native grapes that you don't find really anywhere else, or very few other places are in very few other places are these grapes grown. And of those, about 30 of them are real stars, and you know, they make wonderful wines with flavors that are completely unique to Portugal because these grapes aren't really grown anywhere else. You can get all sorts of tastes from Portuguese wines. You can go from light, crisp whites. We've got one of those this evening. Some of the best of them come from the Vinho Verde country, which is up in the top left-hand corner of Portugal. And they're fresh, they're bright, they're not too alcoholic. You know, they're probably only, most of them, 11, 12%. Occasionally, with one particular very special grape variety, they might get up to somewhere near 13. But they're easygoing, they're fruity, they're fragrant. They've got lovely crisp acidity, great summer drinking. And then you have whites that are a bit more serious. Sometimes they've been fermented in oak barrels, which gives them a sort of richness and roundness.
In something completely... No, it doesn't. So Sexy is made by an interesting pair, because there's a very good young winemaker called Antonio Massanita, and an English, he's the winemaker, Antonio, and an English viticulturalist called David Booth. This one is a blend of, again, Touriga Nacional, 50-ish%. It's got 15% Cabernet Sauvignon and 25% Aragonés, i.e. Tempranillo. And those of you who are mathematically gifted will have noticed that doesn't add up to 100. There is an extra 10%, which I think is Alicante Boucher.
My wife and I wrote a book about Portuguese wine, food, and travel, available at the Wine Circle, which is called The Food and Wine Lover's Guide to Portugal. And so the trouble is, when you write a book like this and it wins prizes, as I'm happy to say this has done, everyone keeps on asking, they think all you know about is Portugal. Well, luckily I'm fairly up to speed with Portugal. Their winemaking is as good as anywhere in the world. And they have these wonderful mountains, these wonderful soils, and these unique grape varieties that make Portuguese wines really different and really special. So, very good health. Enjoy your Portuguese wine.
Fantastic. What a fantastic evening that must have been. And the food just looked really yummy, didn't it? Fantastic. Sonny, he's a really good wine expert as well. He really knows his stuff. He's a published author as well, for that matter. Charles Metcalfe, just very briefly, tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Charles is probably the most foremost wine connoisseur of Portuguese wines. He's one of the main authorities. He studied Portugal. He knows a lot about Portugal, the food and the wine of Portugal.
And those evenings, how regularly do you do those?
We probably do them every 6 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks, more in the winter. Yeah.
Are they the thing that makes the restaurant just that little bit different? Because you said you're thinking all the time about new business ideas and new ways to promote exactly what you do. Do you think every business should be sort of standing back for a moment, looking at their business and saying, okay, how do we sell it differently? How do we make it more individual? Is that the way you approach it?
I think it's a living situation all the time. It's a dynamic situation. You've got to create new ideas by having the wine tasting dinners and the master classes and the food and wine festivals that we do. And we do food tastings, cheeses, specialized hams, mushrooms, oils, all of those. You make your restaurant in the community more interesting than a restaurant that they would go to and they have half a dozen to choose from. And the people that attend those tastings and the wine tasting dinners talk to their friends and colleagues about, oh, I went to this dinner, or I went to that dinner, and I met Charles Metcalfe, or I met this person. And so they sell your business for you. So do something other than just present your restaurant as a place to eat. Have social evenings. We have a club members evening as well, which we do regularly. So you spread it through your customer. You market through your customer, as opposed to a page on an advert in a local newspaper. So make it live.
It's all about word of mouth. It's bringing it alive, isn't it? My director has just said to me, are you going to be tasting any wine tonight? Not from these bottles, no. But what were the problems then when, I mean, you must come across problems. You said already that the restaurant and the whole trade can be very seasonal, but obviously coming into a very good time for you at the moment. And there are other elements, I would imagine, that you're doing to promote the business. But let's just look generally at the problems of running a small to medium scale enterprise. From where you are, what do you come up against, and how do you get around it and resolve things?
Well, I think when you're starting out, you have to make sure you're well capitalized. And when we first started out, we may not have been as well capitalized as we would like to have been.
Do you think that's a problem that most small businesses have? That they think they're going to go ramping up through the ceiling straight away and sell everything?
I think less so. I think small business entrepreneurs are more thoughtful today, and they're very careful. I think on the whole they do a good job, but it's not easy. It's we're in a real recession. There is all the basics in the country are going up, like food and like transport, utilities. All these things affect people's pockets. So although we live in an affluent area, we relate our business to an affluent area, but they are used to living a certain lifestyle.
So have they cut back then? I mean, have you seen
I think they certainly have, a cross-section. There are obviously a percentage that where it doesn't matter, but certainly people are cutting back and they're more thoughtful, and that's where the club, which offers so many benefits, and we see the same customer in 3 or 4 or 5 times a week, because the benefits are huge being a club member, and that's why it's grown and it's successful. But people are cutting back, so you have to be mindful of that. You've got to watch your prices without debasing your product. Don't go cheap, don't buy cheaper, buy better, but try and give value for money all the time. So they have a choice between 1 or 2 restaurants. They have to choose yours. So
what would you say your competitors are doing at the moment to compete against you? Are they putting on events? Are they selling on price? I mean, it's something that you hear a lot of. Our prices are cheaper, we're cutting the prices. And really, a lot of times that can be a recipe of disaster, can't it? If you are cutting your prices to try to maintain your position in the marketplace, because you're just running out of profit, out of cash. We don't in a recession. I've always taken the attitude that we go, if anything, slightly more upmarket. We have to give a product a value for money and a good product in hard times, because people can maybe only spend once as opposed to twice, so they have to decide what is good value for money. They have to come away saying, that was a lovely evening, I enjoyed that, as opposed to going to somewhere where they say, we've spent quite a bit of money there, we didn't really enjoy it. The same experience and the enjoyment. So there are restaurants that I know that are cutting costs by buying cheaper. We're not about to do that. And over the last 1.5 years or so, we're in fact buying a more expensive product, but a better product in terms of our suppliers, and it's working. It's working. As a business owner who is dealing on an ongoing basis with the public all the time, you often hear it said, business would be so much easier if we didn't have customers. But And you really are. You're putting yourselves up to be shot down. First of all, you've got the recommendations from your good self on the different wines and what they're going to be tasting like. You've also got a team of people working in a kitchen who are preparing food. It is a risky. How do you manage when it does happen, customer complaints? And even if there's nothing to complain about, somebody will inevitably complain, won't they? I mean, the public, how do you deal with them?
Well, you certainly can't please everyone all the time. We're very lucky. We've got a very, very good customer base. We've got some lovely customers. But we come across the odd customer that is not always happy. And our work ethic is always, our philosophy is to give them everything they want. Customers are simply not allowed to be rude to the staff. They can complain, and as long as they do it graciously and properly, we will give them the moon. If we open a bottle of wine where there's nothing wrong with it and they decide they don't like it, we'll take it away.
But always drink half a bottle first is what I say, yeah.
But no, we'll take it away so they drink what they want to drink. Because it's more important that customer goes away having had a good evening. A bottle of wine to us is not going to break us. But it's very important that customer goes away having enjoyed the evening. So we go out of our way to help. Now, if the customer is just not able to be helped and is rude, we ask them to leave and we don't serve them again. But that very rarely happens. It has happened. But
it is a mantra that you hear a lot from small businesses, that really the thing that differentiates you from the big organisations and the bigger restaurants is the fact that you can give fantastic customer service.
Well, there are big restaurants. There are famous restaurants in London. That give a very good service. We like to think we do give a service. We don't always succeed in everything we do. We keep striving to be better in what we do. But yes, service is absolutely paramount. And the only way to get that service is to train your staff. I've been to very, very good establishments where the staff are so badly trained that you come away never wanting to go back. So training, and making your staff be interested in what they're doing. Keep them interested and teach them how to interact with customers, how to be relaxed around a customer.
Now, what about location? How important is that to a business like yours? Are you looking for passing trade, or the way you promote the business and the word of mouth, you're hoping that people will actually make the journey to come to the restaurant? I mean, what's the way that you feel about that?
In an area, well, location is important for any business. A retail business, restaurant business, location is very important. But wherever you are, a restaurant is based on your reputation. So any reputation, wherever they are, high street or not, has to rely on built-up clientele by word of mouth. So continue to give a good service, give a good product, value for money, and let the customer spread the word for you. So location is one thing, but you have to, with the various things we're doing through the customer, which we've touched upon already, they are the ones that are going to grow your business.
When it comes to premises, huge investment. I mean, what would your suggestion be to SMEs that are out there that are watching this? Do you buy it? Do you lease it? Do you rent it? What do you do with it these days?
Well, if you can buy the freehold, and if you've got the capital to do it, buy the freehold. If you can't do that, then you have to lease it. There's no other option. I have advised people recently to, whenever they take up a lease, to have a break clause, because your business, if you're starting a new business, then have a break clause. You normally take a lease for 15 or 20 years, have a 5-year break clause, or a 3-year break clause, or a 1-year break clause. So if it's not going well, you can come out. Otherwise, your obligations to that lease are for the term of the lease.
And of course, that gives you a life belt there, doesn't it, for survival too? And sometimes you just can't predict things that are going to be happening just around the corner.
Most landlords, reasonable landlords, will give you a break clause if you're starting a new lease.
And when it comes to making certain that the lease or the actual property documents that you're putting together, once again, very important to be talking to the right people. Who would you be talking to?
Well, you talk to your solicitors. We are lucky to have the expertise within the company. I've dealt with leases all my life, so I will read the lease first. They're pretty standard. You watch out for the usual things. most leases are tenant repairing leases. Make sure that you've crossed the T's and dot the I's. At the end of the day, have a good solicitor.
Listen, loads still to talk about, and we've barely scratched the subject as well when it comes to talking about the wine circle. Tell you what we will do right now, though. We'll come back to Sonny in just a few moments' time, but we're going to find out what's happening in the world of business and commerce at the moment. And with the latest news over the past 7 days, here's Linda Bezant.
This is Business Connections Live with the news for Wednesday, 27th of November 2013. Companies that failed to pay small and medium-sized businesses on time could be named and shamed through a TripAdvisor approach under a proposal being considered by the government. Vince Cable said that late payment was a very serious problem and that the government needed to come up with a new approach which may include naming repeat offenders as well as fines. SMEs in Britain are paid 41 days late on average, creating enormous cash flow issues that the European Union estimates cause 25% of company bankruptcies. And research carried out by Baker Tilly has revealed that 45% of SMEs in the UK are confident about growth opportunities for their businesses over the next 12 months, yet are reluctant to invest in growth. Almost half of all SMEs expected to increase turnover by 5% or more in the next 12 months, although 84% were not prepared to take on more debt to expand. Neil Sevitt, partner at Baker Tilly and SME specialist, said there is real concern that if SMEs do not take a long-term view and ignore opportunities for investment and expansion, economic recovery will remain hesitant and uneven. Businesses need to take more courageous and strategic decisions and make the best use of tax incentives and government's assistance available to them. New .uk web addresses are to be introduced next summer as an alternative to .co.uk and .org.uk domains. The domain name can be used in addition to or instead of an existing address. Those who already have a .co.uk or .org.uk site will get first refusal for a period of 5 years. Brand new .uk web addresses, where there is no existing equivalent, will be given out on a first-come, first-served basis. Where one person owns the .org.uk domain and another owns the .uk, priority will go to the owner of the .co.uk site. The new domains will cost £3.50 per year for one-year registrations and £2.50 per year for multi-year registrations. The UK is celebrating its first Small Business Saturday on the 7th of December 2013. Small Business Saturday is a great chance for small businesses to promote themselves and generate trade. In the US, where it's an established commercial holiday, it generated $5.5 billion in sales in 2012. There are 4.8 million small businesses in the UK and over 14 million people work in them. If Small Business Saturday raises the profile of small businesses, it will have done its job. Small Business Saturday is all about encouraging everyone in the UK to support small businesses, both on the day and beyond. You can do your bit by going to smallbusinesssaturday.com and downloading the digital marketing pack. And the Business Show 2013 opens at Olympia tomorrow at 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. and continues on Friday the 29th of November from 10 until 5. The show features seminars, workshops, exhibitors and many more features packed into Europe's largest business event. Business Connections Live will be there on Friday to talk to some of the exhibitors, and we'll bring you some of that on next week's programme. And if you have any comments or views on these or any other stories, please contact us on all social media or email studio@businessconnectionslive.com.
All that .uk, .this, that, .the other. I think she did. It's not very easy to say, and she did a great job. My thanks a lot to Linda Bezant there. Just a reminder as well, as Linda mentioned, on Friday, Business Connections Live, we're going to be at the Business Show 2013 at Olympia. And if you're there, do look out for us. We're going to be interviewing a few of the different people that are around the show. Hopefully we'll have a word with a few of the different organisers and the stands as well. There's a few people I want to get my microphone onto and to have a word with them. And while we're talking about what's happening in the future next week, a very special show, because we're not going to be studio based. Fingers crossed. We're going to be in Guildford next Wednesday evening. We're going to be at the Metro Bank there. There's a networking event. We've been invited to come along with the programme, and we're going to be broadcasting live from the Metro Bank in Guildford next Wednesday evening. I don't know whether it's a good decision or a bad thing or not, but my thanks to Paul Bridgen from the Best of Guildford for inviting us. Paul, a big advocate of the programme. He was on Business Connections Live #1, and our thanks to Paul. We look forward to being there next week. And if you are going along to the event, we look forward to seeing you there, and do not be shy. Make certain that you come forward, step up, tell us what your business do, and share your experience with the business community at large. It's interesting because the program itself is viewed all around the world. It's surprised us, but after the UK, it's America, obviously. Thank you very much, and thank you very much to the colonies, and then Japan. Couldn't believe that. Japan, Australia. So right around the world, people are watching Business Connections Live. And incidentally, if you are watching around the world and you're looking for some fine wines, we've got the very solution for you. More about the wines as well. We're going to be doing a special promotion with Sonny and the Wine Circle when it comes to getting, maybe not one of these bottles, but a bottle in particular if you do sign up and leave us your name and your email address and become a member of Business Connections Live. My guest this evening, Sonny Jaffrey from the Wine Circle in Virginia Waters. Sonny, thank you ever so much for joining us. If you are joining us right now, the wines that are here, just remind us of the price of a bottle.
Of these, £195.
A mere £195. The difference between a £195 bottle and, shall we say, a £10, £20 bottle, is it so striking, or are you buying the king's new clothes?
You can get a very good wine for £20. You can get a very special wine for £195. They're top producers. They know what they're doing. They've got decades of history and experience. And it's that experience and knowledge of how to make wine that makes it a good wine.
I would imagine that this particular wine doesn't actually touch the sides when it's going down. It would be that smooth, would it?
It's the wine that is served in the Elysee Palace for state functions. Mm-hmm. It is the main wine of the Elysee Palace. They are amazing wines, but you've got to give them time. It's not ready yet.
Well, you know, you have an amazing business, but let's talk and see if we can give some concrete advice to businesses, regardless of what industry they're into. What would be the roadway that they should go down? What would be the signposts that you would say, watch out for, be aware of, here are the pitfalls? How would you go about it today if you were starting all over again?
Do your homework. Know your product. If you're confident with the product you're about to launch, then make sure you identify your market and whether that market is right for your product, and get the numbers right. Do your homework, do your cash flows, do your spreadsheets, do your profit and loss forecasts. Make sure you have a reserve for things for the time when maybe it's not going as well as you expected. Opening a new business today is a very difficult thing to do. So just do all the research you can, and then you need a little bit of luck as well. But don't give up at the first hurdle. Just
do you think
persevere.
a lot of businesses do? Do you think a lot of businesses, when they are starting, they don't look forward, they don't really sit down, research the market they're going into, and maybe starting a business on a whim is the wrong expression, but they're starting it maybe on a hunch that probably or maybe isn't right. Is that what you think? I mean, lots of people talk to you about their businesses, but do you think that's what they do, or what do you think the big mistake is?
I think probably one of the biggest mistakes is they're undercapitalized, and that can lead to a very quick downfall. If the banks are not sympathetic, and there's no reason why they should be, if a small business has not done their homework properly, they can come a cropper very quickly. So make sure you're well capitalized, but make sure all the things I've already said. Make sure you identify your market. There is no point in going and setting up a business if you don't know who your market is and who you're going to sell to, and whether that market in that area, in that location, is ready for your product. So do some sort of research. But know your product. Don't do it on a whim.
So we've established the fact that there is a market out there. We think we've got a good idea. We've been able to raise the capital that we need to get the business on the road and get it running. What's the next big step you should be taking? Is it about finding the premises? Is it about finding the staff? Or is it a case of starting from your garage and starting off like that?
It depends on the business. You can start from your garage, or you can take a lease on a shop or a business or a warehouse. It really depends on the type. Every business has its own quirks and idiosyncrasies. There's not one formula for any one business. But all of the things we've covered is the very basic for a business. Staffing is very important. As a business grows, train your staff, get the right staff, and be prepared to work 7 days a week.
And growing the business, just returning to what we were talking about earlier on, in your business you use things like the club. How else do you promote the business? Is it about making it a family experience, or at least making it feel like that it is a social experience for your members and for your customers that come in there, or is there more to the promotion of a business that's your size than that?
Our restaurant is run slightly differently from the average restaurant. It's your restaurant, it's not ours. So you must feel very comfortable when you come in. It's our house. You're coming into our house and our home. This is our home, this is our house, this is your restaurant. Feel relaxed. It's that sort of atmosphere. The customers, through the social networking of the club, through the various events that we hold, promote the business. The interaction between the restaurant and the shop, we have free tastings every Saturday. We introduce new wines. The tastings are very well attended. They meet new people, they compare notes, they discuss wines. So from within that tasting, you've already got a group that's growing and going out and saying, oh, I went to a tasting. Why don't you come along with me next Saturday? So think of new things to do with your business. We're more than a restaurant and a wine shop. We do tours to Europe. They're growing in popularity. People actually, the club members come back absolutely having had a ball, because we go to wineries that we know, so we're treated really, really well. We went to Champagne recently, and instead of joining the average tours, we got invited into private rooms with 4-course dinners, with champagne with every course, with the owners of the wineries. So they had a ball. And so that group that we took to Champagne of the club members will talk to another 100 people. And from that group, the reason why we do all these extra things is the customers will promote our business. We want to be different.
Now, we're kind of running out of time, so big question, short answer. Your website, you said to me earlier on, you've got the website here, in fact. The website, very important to you. You are selling wines off it, which is, I think, is very significant. Social media, selling electronically across the internet, is that an important part of the business for you?
The website is gaining in popularity. We're getting more and more sales through the website. We're getting them from abroad as well. We don't do a lot of exporting, but we do a certain amount of exporting as well. And we're delivering nationwide at the moment through the website. And of course, we're leading up to Christmas at the moment. Yet another marketing opportunity for you. I would imagine that people can actually go online and order gifts for different people. Is that right? A lot of corporate events. We have contacts with the banks in the city where we supply wines to for their functions, accountancy firms, lawyer firms. We have quite a strong corporate client base. Weddings, anniversaries, we do a lot of that. And here, we mentioned on the site, enjoy 25% of your total bill when dining at the restaurant as a wine club member. I mean, that's what you've been talking about, isn't it? You've been mentioning that's one of the key ways of promoting the business. Well, the club members get 25% off their total bill for themselves and all their guests. One of the key benefits which they really enjoy is they can buy their wine at the shop at retail prices and drink it in the restaurant with no corkage charge. Fantastic. We also have a customer hold where they can keep wines at the restaurant against their inventory, and they can come in and just ask for one of their wines which they've already bought in the shop. So there's a lot of interaction there.
Sonny, I'm going to ask you a big favour right now. I need you to look straight down a camera lens for me and to really tell the medium-scale enterprises that are out there, the small businesses, people perhaps that are thinking of starting their own business, what the key things are that they should be considering, what the Sonny Jaffrey way is to move forward with your business and to be a success in 2014. Would you do that for me?
Sure.
Straight down that one over there. That's the one over there. If you could, that'd be fantastic. Oh, this one over here, I think. Number 3.
Number 3 it is.
Yeah.
Be confident in what you do. Research what you want to do. Believe in what you want to do. And be prepared to work very, very hard in order to get it off the ground and to succeed. And do not be put off at the first hurdle you come at, or the second or the third. Go on trying and go on trying. It didn't come easy for the wine circle. We had ups and downs throughout. You've got to persevere. If you believe in your product, then carry on. And go out and meet people. Go out and communicate. Go out and network. Be part of them. Get to know your customer. Interact with them in such a way that you get to think as they think. And make them have the confidence in you, and you'll sell your product.
It really is as simple as that, isn't it? It makes it sound simple, but of course the risks are all there as well, aren't they?
Sure.
Sonny, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. If you do go to the Business Connections Live website, www.businessconnectionslive.com, then you'll be able to sign up, become a member of our little club, and perhaps maybe get yourself a fabulous bottle of wine courtesy of the wine circle. What I must say actually as well, yesterday, just a very quick mention, Steve Mills, he was due to be on the show last week. He unfortunately had to go out to Dubai to earn loads of money. He's going to be on the show in January. Our thanks to Steve Mills. He was talking, we went an entire day course on LinkedIn, a fascinating experience. A lot of what he covered on the program, he covered in more detail on the training course. If you hear about Steve Mills and you get an opportunity to go on one of his training courses, then I can only suggest that you do. I recommend it very highly. He also does courses on SEO as well for your website. A fascinating day as well. So if you want to find out more details about that, simply go along to our website and you'll find out more information. Incidentally, if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe as well. We'd love you to do that, and do make certain that you sign up to become a Business Connections Live member. Sonny, can I thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you, my pleasure.
It's been an absolute insight. If you were giving a recommendation for Christmas, what would be the top wines then that you would suggest? What would be your recommendation, giving us in a couple of budgets, very quickly?
Have a nice Gevrey Chambertin with your turkey this Christmas.
And what will that set me back?
Mere £40.
That's not bad, actually,
That's not bad,
is it?
no.
And if we were looking for something a little bit more expensive, a little bit more exclusive, what would you go for?
Let me bring you down to a little red at £10.50 from the Languedoc instead.
Oh, going
which
cheaper.
is exceptionally good and drinks like a £20 bottle, but very, very good.
Very
you
good
want to
indeed.
go up, then go for a nice Bordeaux.
That's your recommendation.
Yeah.
And if people want to
Nice
maybe to send things as gifts, or they want to send bottles as gifts, all they've got to do is contact you, I take it?
Absolutely, we send gifts out in gift packs, properly presented gift boxes, all over the country.
And it's dead easy as well for that matter. If you just simply go on to the Wine Circle, just do a search on Google, you're going to find it there. There's no problem at all. And there's a complete range there. So if you're feeling a little bit peckish, a little bit hungry, you've got somewhere that you can now actually go to. If you're looking maybe for a wine, regardless of what your budget is, there's going to be something that is going to be absolutely perfect for you. And if you're looking for a very Merry Christmas and a very nice time, well, Wine Circle is the place to go. Once again, Sonny, can I just thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening on Business Connections Live. We're going to see you next week in Guildford, live at the networking event. But from me, Steve Highland, have a great week. Bye for now. Bye-bye.